So, as I said, I would keep doing drop-ins, so this is this week's drop-in. So I found out some information about the very, very first World Scout Jamboree, because it was held in England. It was actually held at Olympia in London on the 30th of July to the 8th of August. So again, still a week.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep, 1920 that is. Okay. So there was 8,000 scouts that went to the very first Jamboree. Now, obviously, thinking about it, that's a lot since Scouts started in 1907, 08, 07, I think. My brain's a little bit frayed. I'm busy. I've been very busy planning, so my brain is a little bit addled at the moment. So that's 8,000 Scouts. So that was from 34 different nations, which is, as I say, a hell of a lot. And since, Jamboree was done inside, they had to think of a way that they could still be able to pitch tents and things like that.
Whoops. Little tablet. Sorry. Cameraman failure.
So that tents could still be pitched, they actually filled the Olympic arena floor with 30 centimetres, that's 1 foot deep, with earth. So if you think about it, most centimetres are 30 most rulers are 30 centimetres long. Okay? So after they put all the earth down, they then put grass on top, which, as I say, meant that they could still pitch tents and all things like that. So I have got a couple of the posters. Hopefully you'll be able to see them on my phone. So this one was called the League of Youth. Hopefully you can see that. Okay. The war-weary world at the Jamboree, I was nearly losing hope, but the sight of all you boys was giving it back to me. So that is a cartoon in Punch magazine on the 4th of August, 1920, referring to the first World Scout Jamboree in the context of the aftermath of World War I. So this was also the poster beforehand, kind of, to get Scouts to think about going to Jamboree. So hopefully you can see that. I will post these as well, so that you can look at them properly. So obviously on the poster you have got the building of Olympia itself and a Scout sitting on top of it. So, but the one picture that actually I really liked was this one, because it's actually a picture of 500 wolf cubs, which obviously nowadays are just called cubs, performing the Grand Howl. There we go. Hopefully you can see that. As I say, I will post all of these pictures so you can look at them properly on larger screens than just my phone.
Imagine the volume of 500 cubs.
Yeah, imagine how loud cubs are now, and you're thinking of maybe 20, 30 cubs. Imagine 500 all doing the Grand Howl at the same time. That'd be very loud.
That lovely big echoing arena.
Yes, that should echo very nicely.
Amazing sound.
So with 8,000 scouts attending the first Jamboree, 5,000 of the scouts were actually encamped at the Old Deer Park, which is near Richmond Park. And it's called Old Deer Park because Richmond is very well known for having a lot of deer and a lot of wildlife.
Originally hunting park.
There we go. It was originally a hunting park. So the scouts that slept outside and the scouts that slept inside rotated so that everybody could take part in all of the events that were going on for that whole week. The Thames actually flooded the campsite one night, so all the scouts had to actually be evacuated. I'm not 100% sure where to, but they had to all be evacuated because all the tents and everything were were floating. Olympia has hosted numerous exhibitions and contests throughout the whole Jamboree event. Obviously, 1920. Obviously, Baden-Powell would have been there himself. So I will read out his last word before closing of Jamboree, as I'm sure everybody knows if you've been to Jamboree that there's always a last word.
I like the story of the blanket.
Yes. So there is a story of the blankets, and basically they didn't have enough. They needed another 2,000, I think it was.
It was cold. It was a very cold
It was
August.
very, very cold August. And they just didn't have enough blankets. So they had to go out and try and get another 2,000 blankets. But all the scouts that had taken more, 2 blankets or whatever, offered to lend one to somebody else that didn't have one at all, showing the spirit of scouting there. But you also had the quartermaster and
Camp Commandant.
there we go, camp commander, who weren't actually scouts, but got so caught up in doing it and were happy to help and everything, that they were taught the scout promise and the scout laws and were invested during Jamboree, which I actually think is absolutely amazing. So as I said, there were 34 nations there. Quite a lot of them obviously still go now, so we've got places like Australia, Belgium, obviously England, but you've also got Gibraltar, Greece, India, Ireland, Jamaica, Japan, Malta, the Netherlands, New Zealand, the USA, Switzerland. That's just a few of them from the list. But a few of the exhibitions were there. So there was an alligator that had been brought over from Florida. There was a baby crocodile that was brought over from Jamaica. A lioness cub from Rhodesia. Monkeys from South Africa. A baby elephant and a camel. I couldn't find out where they were from. So I will read out the closing speech from Baden-Powell himself. So here we go. Brother Scouts, differences exist between the people in the world in thought and sentiment, just as they do in language and physique. The Jamboree has taught us that if we exercise mutual
Forbearance.
Thank you. Forbearance and give and take, then there is a sympathy and harmony. If it be your will, let us go forth, fully determined that we will develop among ourselves and our boys that comradeship through the world-wide spirit of the Scout Brotherhood, so that we may help to develop peace and happiness in the world and goodwill among men. And that is the closing speech from the very first Scout Jamboree. So maybe if you've got any Jamboree stories, or maybe if someone in your family was possibly at the very first Jamboree, maybe you can find out maybe a story from them. As I say, no activities during these videos, just a little, hi, I'm still here. And just a drop-in catch-up. So I hope you're all enjoying your holidays and all the activities that you are doing. As I say every week, some of the things that you're doing may still go towards badges. All the pictures that I showed you, I will post on Goth Beaver Leader Star. Also, that is Facebook and Instagram. And I will see you all next week. Bye, guys.